Hi guys, this is Nikki Yu, also known as Faces Trader, and you're watching the Awesome 10x Philippine Market Update. Can you believe it's already June 30, 2021? It's the end of 6 months, and we're here to discuss what happened in the Philippines for the first half of 2021. So let's try to dig in. All right, so the Philippine market is closing at 6,901.91, and you could see that a lot of stocks actually managed to go up this year. So far, for the first 6 months of the year, let's take a look at the stats. For the first 6 months of the year, let's first go to some great moves in the market. So Monday Nissan is closing the first half of the year at 16.52, a strong move that's actually more than 20% from their IPO price of 13.5. A strong correction is not inevitable after a 20% move. However, a strong or mild correction is dependent really on profit taking. Nonetheless, this is a very strong movement, and we are happy to say that people actually love owning a blue chip company in the Philippines and are definitely willing to pay up a premium for these Monday Nissan shares. We covered Monday Nissan IPO, and so I hope that you checked it out in our Awesome 10x YouTube channel. Another thing to share is that although there are some stocks that are actually red today, it might actually come as a surprise that the stocks that are red today actually managed to have gone so strongly up, which means that the market is still in a profit-taking zone, as some people assume that maybe after a strong run-up for the first 6 months of the year, they might want to take some profits off nearing PSEI 7,000. Some people are analyzing that maybe they can take some profits from the Ayala Corps, the SM Primes, and so forth. So let's take a look at this analytics for your index names first. Your Philippine Stock Index, in the last 6 months, the top mover is your ICT, already up 30% for 6 months and actually up 62% year on year, 12 months change. The other strong mover in your index is actually Emperador, up 60% year on year and up 26% for the first 6 months of 2021. Your DMCI, also strong recovery, about 56% on the 12-month change, and now in this last 6 months is actually up 11%. Your Jollibee is trading above 200 pesos. It's up actually 55% since the last 6 months if you've been investing and making money on these names, and it's actually up 9% for this 6 months. First gen BPI is 27% 1 year ago, and then 9% up for the last 6 months. Now your FGen is 31%, your BDO is up 20%, GD Capital 35%, Metro Bank up 33%. So you're seeing that a big portion of your gains this year happens to come from financials. So a lot of people might have assumed that the Philippine banks are still balance sheet happy and not really expecting a lot of net provision losses. And so that's the huge resurgence in the last 12 months for your banks. Now let's take a look at the further movement. All right, other things to watch out. In the last 6 months, you see losses still there, but it's not too huge. 1% unchanged for Pure Gold at 40 bucks. Luciatan almost unchanged, 1% down. It's about LTG is still trading around 12.90, 13 pesos. All right, so let's take a look at your analytics again. In the last 6 months of the year, you are seeing that Pure Gold is unchanged, Luciatan Group is unchanged, or Ayala Corp is, we'll talk about the 1 to 5%, almost unchanged. So Ayala Corp, 3% down, PLDT, 4% down for the year, AGI is still 4% down for the year, SM is about 4% down for the year, Meralco is still 5% down for the year. Your SM Prime also 5% down, your URC 5% down, your Aboitiz Power is still down 8% for the year. Your San Miguel Corporation is still down 9% for the year. Your Metro Pacific MPI is still down about 9% for the year. Aboitiz Equity Ventures still down 10% for the year. Ayala Land still down 11% for the year. Security Bank still down 12%. So this is actually an outlier versus the other three banks that are actually already up for the year. Your JG Summit is down 13%. Your Robinsons Retail is down 17%. Again, you could see the discrepancy between Pure Gold versus Robinsons Retail, as the market sees Pure Gold more resilient and Robinsons Retail still suffering 17%. Is it an opportunity? We would say yes. Robinsons Land is still down 18%. So you're seeing a lot of property companies still down for the year. Your Bloomberry is still down 20%, and your Mega World is also down 20% for the year, at least for the first 6 months of 2021. So that tells you that overall, if you've been investing in the Philippine stock index, your market per se has only a few winners, like about 8 winners and about 8 winners, 22 losers, if you consider anything below zero as a loser. So overall, the Philippine market is down 3% for the first 6 months of the year. Now, over a last year, let's say you've invested around June 2020, what exactly is your portfolio looking at? If you bought the entire index 12 months ago, your portfolio is going to look 18% up. So why is it up a lot? Why is it 18% up? Because you saw that even if Lucia Tan Group is unchanged for the last 6 months, it actually managed to go 60% up 12 months ago. ICT, strong mover, 12 months ago and 6 months ago, Emperador, DMC. So you're seeing that what happened with AGI could actually be just profit taking. Strong mover last year, 56%, just now down 4%. So you're still seeing that profit taking. Now, the banks are strong, and you're seeing some banks actually manage to stay strong. Security Bank, however, is still lagging behind your Metro Bank, BDO, and BPI. Could be an opportunity to take a look at for Security Bank on why it's lagging behind the rest of the banks. Now, in terms of properties, you're seeing that although Mega World is down 20% for the year, it could also be an opportunity given that Omega World is up 11% last year, down 20% this year. It means that it gave up some of their gains. It actually had a drop because of the MSCI rebalancing. And we argue that the Mega World REITs and the entire earnings that they reported for the last first quarter 2021 and even for 2020 is actually not that bad. So we would, if this is your first time in the show, please try to take a look on our Mega World deep dive MREIT in the same Philippine Awesome 10X YouTube channel. So we have deep dives for these. Now for SM, it's just mostly unchanged. So it's just been a bellwether. Ayala Land also just unchanged. Almost it's down 5% for the year, but up 10% last year. Ayala Land is down 11% this year, but up 6% from last year. 12 months. So you're seeing actually your properties are not yet as resilient. It could be an opportunity. The market is not yet appreciative of the property resurgence, at least for the year. Meaning the market doesn't believe in the rental yields, the market doesn't believe in the occupancy rates, and most of these are definitively department stores. Like example, SM Prime is more on the department stores front. You could see that department stores as a whole is still lagging behind, with Robinson's Retail trailing far behind your Pure Gold, specifically because your Robinson's Retail is more diversified. It has department stores rather than strictly your supermarkets, and also has drugstores. Okay, so specialty shops. Now, for Meralco, it's just been unchanged. So you're seeing the stability, stable utility plays are still there, almost unchanged. Then for a few things to note, we are seeing actually a catch-up play on some of what we perceive as undervalued last year. It's actually growing right now in the last month and 1 month. You're seeing actually that Aboitiz Power, which is down 10% last year, quite a dog if you consider 2021, is actually getting a little bit of a love. So Aboitiz Power went from 20 and now it's near 23. So you're seeing actually some people are trying to catch up on some laggards from last year. So Aboitiz Power is also discussed in our deep dives. So you might actually want to check it out. We made a deep dive on Pure Gold, on Aboitiz Power, on Mega World REITs or the Mega World stock, and then Nicolasia, and then Asin was discussed last year pa. Mondanisin was also discussed. So those are things that are worthy to take a look at in the Philippines. The biggest loser so far in the last 12 months and continues to be a laggard for the last 6 months is Robinson's Retail. So actually, it might make sense to take a look at these laggards on whether these laggards are worth it to take a look at, as well as Globe. So Globe Telecoms is actually lagging behind the PLDT. Globe is down 11% for the last 12 months, actually down 10% for the last 6 months at 1,800 pesos for Globe Telecom. Should he actually buy into it? So these are just your market metrics right now in the Philippine Stock Index, telling you what's happened for the last 6 months and for the last 12 months. Now, let's take a look at today. Today, the top traded is Mondanisin, and it's a non-index name. But we argue that Mondanisin is a big potential for an index inclusion. Give it about 3 months, 6 months, or I don't know, maybe 1 year or 2 years. Why? It's such a huge company, stable, predictable cash flows, and definitely something that most people love in a consumer staple. Predictable cash dividends with stable growth. So that said, I think Mondanisan, after a strong run-up, here about 16.5, might actually get a little bit of profit taking if some people are a little bit concerned on the valuations of Mondanisan, because it actually grew more than 20% already since the last 2 months since listing, which might actually be a target price for about a year or so. So it achieved its target very fast. Some people might actually be taking some profits on the target prices. All right. Yeah, so what else can we say? The most actively traded names are, other than your index issues. So in the index, your Emperador is going up. Let's take a look at any news, what's happening in your Emperador. It's important to perhaps take a look at Security Bank on why it's actually lagging behind the other banks as well. And then in terms of gainers, let's take a look at the gainers for the year or for the day. In terms of gainers, Emperador is the top gainer, so I guess it's worth taking a look at and checking out. Your DWC of 5% but very low volume. Yeah, so I think we'll try to discuss or read about two things: the laggard effect of Robinson's Retail, and the laggard effect of Globe. So and the laggard effect of Security Bank. So 3 companies: Security Bank, Robinson's Retail, and Globe. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's dig in. And of course, the outperformance of Emperador as well. So you could see that Emperador is getting a lot of movement here on the uptrend. The 6 months, the 3 months. So where is that Emperador? Let me show that to you again. EMP. It's up 60% for the year, up 30% for the last 9 months. So you're seeing that Emperador is very high growth momentum. So we'll try to see what exactly is the news happening in Emperador. Can this winner continue to win? So first things first, let's take a look at the winners. So Edge, PSE, CompTH. Take a look at Emperador if they shared something in their releases. EMP. Emperador is, of course, owned by Mr. Andrew Tan. It's their crown jewel. And they're selling liquor, not just in the Philippines. So I know that they're selling also in other countries. Let's take a look at that. Reload. Why can't I search it? Advanced search, EMP. Okay, there. Emperador. So let's take a look at any company disclosures. So you're seeing share buyback transactions on Emperador all throughout. That's a positive thing. We also said that insider buyback, such as Mega World, was also happening, which is why we're more bullish that we are seeing that amongst the property segments, there's no slowdown in the 4 properties of Mega World. It's the Iloilo, it's the Bacolod, it's the Cavite, it's the Pampanga. And with growth arenas outside Metro Manila, it looks like Mega World can capture that. And with the stability of their office portfolio, which even in a pandemic still managed to actually get 10 billion pesos in rental income. So that's actually magnanimous. Okay, so share buyback transactions, you could see from June all the way to about the end of the month. So super strong initial buyback. Okay, let's take a look at the press releases. Okay, so on May 17, 2021, Emperador wants to accelerate their global expansion. They want to hike their CapEx, capital expenditures, by 50% to accelerate this expansion. So you're seeing that just like Jollibee and URC who went global, you're seeing Emperador wants to play the global game. What Emperador's plans for the world is. Take over the world, Mr. Andrew Tan. Okay, let's open that file. It was actually released May 17, 2021. So let's take a look as well on the charts of Emperador. If the rise in the last 3 months was actually a little bit on the commentary of Mr. Andrew Tan's goal to expand more abroad. So May 2021 is somewhere today is 5 months. So May, it's here. Actually, May 17, 2021 was somewhere here. So the price during the time that they disclosed was around 9.35, 9 peso 35 cents, 9 peso 50 cents. We're now seeing Emperador trading today at about 12.8 or roughly 950, tapos 1280, nearing 4 pesos, nearing 40-50%. Tama ba? So that's a huge move. 30%. Sabihin na natin 12.8 divided by 10 na lang. So 30 plus percent. 35%, I think. Okay, so let me see if nag-load up na ang aking edge. Nasaan na yun? Bagal pa rin ang phone. Teka lang, andyan na ba? Nag-load up na ba ang aking press release? Ayun, opening when complete. Open when done. Okay, so not yet open, but let me just read the news further. Baka mas mabilis yung ganon. Ano yun? Sabihin ko, Emperador expands CapEx, expands global. Okay, so they're expanding globally. Okay, so that was May 18, 2021. Let's just read this. Emperador expanding to new markets. It's also been said in the last 6 months Inquirer Business. They see a further expansion of their brandy business internationally, and they want to accelerate that. They are actually sustaining their market dominance in various countries, expanding their presence across North America. So you are, Okay, so let's read that together while I'm, wait up. Bagal lang mag-load. Hintay. So, title-wise, teka, ang dami ko kasing naka-open na slides. Tapon ko na, sarado muna natin to, ha? I was studying a lot of US. Usap tayo later niyan sa US ko. Ting, 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 ting. Ching, ching. Hing, hing, hing. Yeah, I'm studying that. Where am I? Close. All right, so there you go. So, let's read. Emperador is sustaining market dominance in various countries. This is their Jura distillery. Let's read it. Emperador is the world's largest brandy company. They're continuously expanding. Their Scotch whiskey business is continuing growth momentum across Europe, Asia, and Africa. Brandy sales growth in North America and United Kingdom is further expanding. The dominance in various markets around the world as demand for brandy and Scotch whiskey continues to grow exponentially. Business recorded remarkable growth international segment, with the brandy business growing 376% in UK, 44% in Mexico, 74% in Canada, and 24% in the United States, all considered to be significant market in Emperador's international business: UK, Mexico, Canada, US. In Africa, Tres Cepas Brandy, which is under their Emperador subsidiary in Spain, also has expanded their market shares in Guinea and Cameroon. White & Mackay UK is one of the world's largest Scotch whiskey producers. It's established in 1844, wholly owned subsidiary 100% from Emperador. It's climbed up the second largest selling blended Scotch brand in the entire United Kingdom. Good job, Mr. Andrew Tan. In their single malt brand Jura, it's now currently the #1 single malt in the UK in terms of sales volume in groceries and supermarkets across the country. It's also the currently fastest growing single malt brand in Sweden and in the Netherlands. In China alone, White & Mackay's whiskey business almost grew around 200%, with sales volume through their e-commerce line expanding by 227% last year. We remain optimistic that we can sustain the momentum for international business this year as we keep expanding, continuing increase in the production distribution volume of our brandy and whiskey products across Asia, North America, Latin America, Europe, and Africa this year. Emperador is the only Filipino consumer brand company today not only present across different continents of the world, also dominating brandy and whiskey in several countries where the products are sold, said their CEO, Mr. Glenn Manlapas, Emperador International. So very strong movements. You could see it was a very strong growth for that. That is actually first quarter 2021 of Emperador. And you're seeing actually that the market is a laggard in playing that dominance and are actually valuing, hey, is Emperador really cheap? And with those kinds of numbers, they're actually paying up a premium for it. And I think it's well deserved. Now let's take a look further on the news here. I can really let's see here. Emperador's presence continuing to expand across North America, Europe, and China. So their Fundador Spanish brandy, De Jerez, is expanding aggressively across North America and Europe. They're dominating with now 40% market share. They own the historic Bodegas Fundador in Jerez de la Frontera, Spain. They've already been particularly showing performance, very strong performance in North America. In US, Fundador achieved 23% growth in the first 9 months of the year. Sales have also tripled in Canada during the first 9 months as Fundador Light has been made available in Alberta, Canada as a new expression this year. The new Fundador Double Right also rolled out across the US. UK Fundador grew 185% during the first 9 months, recording 15% growth during the same period. Emperador's Brandy, on the other hand, achieved 8% growth in Mexico. So this is all international growth. Very strong movement. Okay, growth also in China. International sales net income is now a whopping 5.9 billion pesos during just the first 9 months of the year. Third quarter earnings also achieved 26% record growth to about 2.5 billion pesos as overseas are demanding more of its products, surging amid the global pandemic. This is true. Worldwide, we were looking at about the companies like Boston Beer. It's really doing very well. So in general, the pandemic actually induced many people to actually be drinking a lot of liquor. So very strong movement in that segment. The success of our international expansion boosted our earnings, bringing stability and growth at a time when the Philippines is wrestling with the impact of coronavirus. Our global business saw a double-digit growth, adapted very well to the new consumption trends set by Mr. Winston Ko, the president of Emperador Inc. Emperador now owns Emperador Distillery, Scotch whiskey maker White & Mackay, Bodegas Fundador in Spain. They've got brands and whiskey brands, brandy, that are available in more than 100 countries around the world. Definitely, we have to say congratulations to Emperador shareholders. And what can we say about this? Let's take a look further on their market capitalization. Okay, so let's take a look. Does Emperador have any debts? Does Emperador have any what's their price, sales, and so forth? So how do you do that? You go to wealth, you go to analytics, then you go to Emperador, you go to fundamentals. So this is how you do it. Assuming that this is updated, it says here that oops, sorry, back there. Okay, it's loading. Okay, so we're seeing Emperador. The last price of 12.8 is about 3 times trailing sales. Price to sales ratio about 3.8 times. All right. Price, usually I don't need to go book value for a company in the consumer space. So let's take a look at their earnings. It's about 23 times earnings ratio. So how does it compare to the fundamentals of other countries for the liquor brands? So I'm gonna show you a few liquor brands. Of course, you've probably heard about Diageo. So we're gonna check out their competition. Diageo is ticker symbol DEO. DOPLC is also nearing all-time highs from about November 130 to 190. More importantly, this winery and distillery is in UK, also where Mr. Andrew Tan's brands are very much successful. So it's a $113 billion market cap with sales of about 16 billion. You could see that the price to sales is about 7 times, which makes Emperador actually half the price of Diageo, despite the fact that it's growing very massively. You're seeing that their growth is just 15% for earnings per share. Their sales for the last 5 years was nearly nothing, just 1% for the last 5 years. In fact, for a company that's growing well with double-digit growth all across the other countries and pricing at about 3 times price of sales, very cheap, we're saying that even if Emperador just continues the current momentum of their sales, their valuation is indeed cheap. Okay, so let's take a look further on other beverages, wineries, and distilleries to take a look how the sector is moving. So on a sector segment, Constellation Brands, so you know about this company, it's Corona Beer. So let's take a look at Corona Beer. Corona Beer is actually trading at 25 times multiple. And Constellation Brands is not just the owner of Corona Brands. It's just my most, it's just the name I remember. But of course, they own a lot of brands. Okay, let's take a look. So Corona Beer, Corona Brands is actually 5 times price of sales. Again, you're seeing that Emperador is cheaper versus these global brands. And they're actually trying to grow in the hard seltzer market as well. Of course, this is a beverage company. I'd have to say that Coca-Cola is not the soft drink company. So Coca-Cola also has Alco Pops, Alco Seltzers. So it's actually that's their growth wave these days, not just coffee chains. Yes, Coca-Cola owns your Costa Coffee. Okay, so let's try to understand the valuation. So Coca-Cola is actually trading about 7 times price to sales. Quite, they're also flat because the sales are huge and very huge. We're talking about $33 billion of sales for your Coca-Colas. So, okay, so well, let me take a look as well for Boston Beer, even if this is not a close competition. Molson Coors, beverage company, okay, is also a beverage brewer. So I just want to see how it compares with other breweries and distilleries. Okay, this one is an $11 billion company, also still cheap at about 13 times, and this one is cheaper at about 1 times price to sales. So if you take a look at the entire consumers as a whole, it's not the cheapest, but I can understand why, because Emperador is actually growing more magnanimously versus these you can call them stalwarts or long time predictable companies. Boston Beer, let's take a look at that as well. Ticker symbol SAM. So SAM is actually trading at about 6 times price to sales. So this one is growing massively, just like Emperador. Earnings per share has been growing 30, 70, 80%. Sales were rising 65%. Earnings per share quarter on quarter was 330%. So we're gonna try to picture that. Actually, Sam actually went almost 10x for last year in 2020. Like, well, not 10x, 300 to 1.2, so almost times four. Okay, so let's go to Emperador's chart. All right, let's go to the technicals of Emperador for the last 5 years. So for the last 5 years, you're seeing that in 2017, it did nothing. 2018, 2019, 2021, it started to rampage up. You're seeing that the market is finally appreciative of market share performance in terms of eating and dominating market share across the board internationally. Emperador is now getting acknowledged from about 8 pesos, now trading at 12 pesos. Majority of the move actually happened during the COVID pandemic. So we're seeing that the market is changing its thinking on Emperador. Let's take a look further. Let me just see. I need to see how much. Oh wait, not there. Okay, I'll take a look at because I want to see like more than 5 years. Wait up, let me see if I can check like all the years. Okay, this is your Emperador EMP. So Emperador actually went into the market not via an IPO, but actually through a backdoor listing. So the prior highs of Emperador, you could see in the last 5 years, 2014, you're seeing Emperador started here at about 1290, fell down 50% here to about 650. And for about, I'd say since 2016 to 2020, almost 5 years, it did nothing. Only here in about, after a lot of earnings results, perhaps people saw the global expansion continuing to grow further. They're actually paying up from about 8 and 9 to about 13. So far, the question is the momentum going to stop? In terms of just the fundamentals, I'd argue that since it's still undervalued, can go as high as 24. Now, of course, that 24 target could take about 2 to 3 years, but we're seeing actually that drops near 10 pesos is actually more of a buying entry, or even a drop near 11 to 12. So we're going to be more bullish on Emperador. I'm not quite sure how huge the impact of international. So let's go right now to the impact of the international in Emperador sales. So let's now go through their annual report. So Alliance Global, in case you're not aware, is also a majority stakeholder of Emperador, which actually tells you that as a conglomerate, if you like Mega World, if you like Emperador, you can actually consider, hey, maybe AGI is very undervalued. In fact, AGI went 50% up last year. It's down 5% this year. This could be your chance to buy a company that's actually growing intensely in their balance sheet, in their cash flows, and yet the market is not appreciative of it. You can make awesome 1x, maybe 100%. All right, so let's go. Yeah, so let's go to the Emperador. I want to see like the Emperador annual report. 2020 is fine. Like last year would be okay. Yeah, so we're now going to the financial reports. I prefer going straight to the company. So you're seeing here that they sent their reports, 17Q, they're 78 for their annual reports. I'm gonna just go to the easy ones. So I'll just go to the annual report. Okay, we're loading. Wait it up. Okay, refined taste, a future for all. This is 90 pages. Don't worry, we're gonna just see it one by one. So the financial highlights, they actually hit 50 billion pesos in revenue. That's about $1 billion. How much is Emperador today? Let me just see how much the market cap right now of Emperador is. A quick look is go to the stats, go to analytics, go to the go to the shares, and you can see the market cap of Emperador is 200 billion. So with a 50 billion, yeah, it's about 4 times price to sales, right? So okay, let's take a look now at 50 billion sales. How much does Emperador make? They're saying that they are earning 8 billion. Not bad. So indeed, you're paying about 20 times, 23 times, right? So yeah. So it's not that expensive, but neither is it cheap either. So you're not getting it anymore at less than 20 times multiple. And the thing that the market is paying here for is the sustainability of the growth expanding abroad, like e-commerce abroad, China growth, UK growth. So you're seeing that the revenues were growing 2018, 2019, 2020. The revenues in the trend, the income is going higher, but the majority of the growth is actually outside, international. So that is actually something that is heartwarming for Filipinos, that they're enjoying success in building a stronger brand in Asia, North America, Latin America, and Spanish markets, meaning not in the Philippines. Okay. So Dr. Andrew Tan, let's see. It's now, of course, the owner of White and McKay, and headquartered in Glasgow. It has significant malt and grain. They also own that Spain. So in terms of assets, it's a very well-run company. I want to see how much debt, if ever, White McKay, because I remember they bought White McKay through some debts. So, okay, international reach to at least 100 countries. Good job. The world's best brandy. You're seeing now the category. I don't drink brandy, but I suppose a lot of people do. And Emperador, I mean, okay, I do drink whiskey, not so much. All right, okay. So here, so they won a lot of competition, the Fundador Supremo, the Age, the Madera. Okay, so you'll see that the whiskey category, yes, Dalmore is very much famous. The Jura single malt whiskeys. So Tamna Volin. So you're seeing the trend is all about the upper whiskey brands. So high margin goods. Congrats. All right. So let's read further. I'm gonna go through fast moves here. Okay, sustainable goals. Okay. Social responsibility, White and McKay. All right. So massive international footprint and exciting new opportunities. White and McKay is now growing internationally with markets such as US, Sweden, Spain, Indochina, UK, Russia, and Greater China, giving them a wide and strong foothold in its international Scotch whiskey market. Enjoying exceptional growth in UK, driven by off-premise and e-commerce channels, although a number of markets were hampered by the effective closure of the on-premise and specialist retail channels. So they're doing direct-to-consumer. You're seeing that they're able to sell very well e-commerce style, so not a big problem. The Dalmore actually won gold awards at the 2020 Penta Awards in recognition of its product design excellence. Dalmore continued to strengthen their position in the luxury hubs, such as the London Mayfair, globally renowned accounts such as the Ritz-Carlton, the Cano, and the Claridge. So really good. I'd say that their brands are just going stronger. In Germany, Tamna Volin, impressive growth story, the top 5 malt brand in volume, and now the top 6 value in UK. They're currently listed in 2,300 stores in Germany. Meanwhile, in Sweden, they're building a fantastic start. They just had a 2-year launch. And so far, Tamna Volin in Russia is going from strength to strength with now 10,400 distribution points throughout the country and total sales of 7,700 cases for 2020. Very good brand. I'm saying that this is a good brand, guys. Whether you're a whiskey lover or not, you can appreciate greatness and growth. Hats off, Dr. Andrew Tan, and any EGA shareholders out there and any Mega World shareholders out there. You've got a good founder here. Emperador shareholders, you've got a good company here. Growth of 40% in 2020 and continuous growth in sales, 77%. The fastest growing brand in US is Jura. Their 12-year-old became one of the country's top selling 12-year-olds with a growth of 40% in 2020. Limited releases were very successful as well. Jura 12-year-old Sherry Cask exclusively released in Taiwan, performing strongly. I can tell you that Asians, Americans, not just Filipinos, love drinking Germans, basically, liquor market is a huge total addressable market that they can dominate, which means that the opportunity is a big TAM. Total addressable market can be 500. If they're doing $50 billion in sales, I don't think it's gonna go $500 billion in sales, but maybe about $200 billion eventually. Amazing. That means that they could perhaps quadruple their earnings. So actually doubling for Emperador, if you're looking at the growth space in the next 5 to 10 years with this type of momentum, it's worth it. All right, it's worth it. I'm going to say ahead of time, it's a good company, so not bad. You can own it. Okay, what else? Sustainability, green energy, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so these are their products as well in Spain. Fundador Supremo. Okay, yeah, high margin, by the way, in booze, in whiskeys. So, yeah. This is their vineyards, not bad. Yeah, if your business is doing well, it makes sense for you to double up and expand. So that's why they're going 50% increase in capex. Okay, so energy initiatives, water consumptions. All right. Okay, let's see further. I want to see their balance sheet. Fast, please. Okay, so board of directors, let's just see. So of course, the chairman of the board is none other than Dr. Andrew Tan. Then your CEO is Mr. Winston Kaw. You can see it clearly. Your Kathy Tan, you're first elected as director and treasurer since 2013. She was a treasurer of Emperador Distillery since 2003 and AGI, Yorkshire Holdings, Newtown Land Partners. Also the concurrent chairman and president of Anderson Global and Choice Gourmet Banquet. It's actually a very well-run company, if you'll ask me. So Mr. Kaw is the president. His field of expertise is he was a chairman and president of Newtown Land Partners, chairman of Anglo Watson's Glass, a director of Alliance Global Brands, Forbestown Properties, McKester Picnic, Raffles and Company, the Bar Beverage, and senior vice president of the Andersons Group, Inc. So, of course, the directors, Mr. Kendrick Tan, Mr. Kevin Tan. So, and then it's a family-run business with professionals as well. Yeah, it's a good business. Let's take a look. Financials now. Okay. So current assets, it's a 60 billion peso cash. So they've got a lot of cash, 7 billion, trade and receivables, 20 billion, inventory. So that's their malt and whiskeys and their brandies. It's about 30 billion. So that's good as cash. Non-current assets, their property plans about 60 billion. And then non-current assets held for sale, they've got 1 billion pesos, whatever that non-current asset is. So in total, their total assets, 120 billion pesos. So book value would be about 1.5 times price to book value. All right. Do they have liabilities? All right. In terms of liabilities, they do have some current liabilities of 25 billion pesos. And non-current liabilities, which are longer term, is about 30 billion, which makes their sales enough to pay all of their liabilities if they have to. It's going to take about 6 years for them to pay. If 8 billion income, assuming 4 billion is being paid for debt in case, it's going to take them about 6 years because, of course, the other income is going to expansion and operating, So, diba, they said capex of about 50% expansion. I don't know. I read it's about 1.5 billion pesos. So technically, they're just spending about 20 to 30% of their earnings for the capex. So it's still sustainable. Yes. So not so bad. Anyway, the interest rates right now are very cheap. So it's okay. All right. So as you could see, the subsidiaries of Mr. Emperador is what? Emperador Distillers, Anglo Watson's Glass, Alcazar de Bana Holdings Company, the Bar Beverage, Tradewed Estates, Cocos Vodka Distillers, the Banner Rum Company. Okay, so they own these, White and McKay, So those are their brands, their IPs. Okay, I need to see the margins in, whoops, where was that? What's the beginning? What's the margin when you're selling whiskeys? And I want to see the breakdown in the sales revenue. So let's see here. In terms of sales, so you know about 50 billion pesos of sales. Brandy is about 37 billion. Scotch whiskey is about 16 billion. So brandy is double than whiskey. Okay. In terms of costs and expenses, brandy would cost 30 billion. So they'll earn about 7 billion net EBIT. That's their EBIT, earnings before interest and taxes. For whiskey, from 16 billion of sales, 13 billion is cost, so about 2.3 billion pesos of segment net profits, which gives you that 5 plus 2 plus us. That's its 8 billion EBIT. Okay, so from a margin standpoint, that means that their cost is roughly sapsa divided by saplak. Saputo po, it's a percent, no? So their margin is about 20%. Okay, now I understand the business. Okay, the other one naman is the same. Yeah, saputo at 20%. 20 to 25% is their net EBIT, their EBIT. Okay, yeah. So not bad. I'd say that this is a winner. Congrats to those who have Emperador. Looks like you've got a great winner. Okay, it's 40 minutes. I'm sorry, I was very long. So we'll just discuss the rest of the companies next week. Very fast, what are your biases about BSC, Picor, and Lepanto? I'm only biased in oil, which is Petron. For BSC, I think they said that they're restructuring for solar. While I'm bullish on solar, I don't know yet if they've done their farms, their solar farms. So we'll need to take a better update from BSC. If they're expanding their solar wind farms, I think they discussed about the solar wind farm in, where is that again? Let me think. Where did they say the solar farm? BSC is going to build a 1.8 megawatt solar farm in the. Wait, sorry, is this it? No, not this one. No. Basic, no? Basic Energy Corp. Solar farm. Myanmar. So yeah, I don't know if they've already built it, and they're also pursuing a Batangas wind farm. They're securing a contract. Okay, let's read that question for you. Basic Energy secured a contract for 50 megawatts wind project in Mabini. Non-extendable 5-year pre-development stage, 25-year development stage. Wind energy will be undertaken, a whole unit of Basic Energy. So really, it's you're gonna have to wait whether these plans are gonna be constructed. The nearer you are to your milestone, the better. For Petron naman, the only reason why I think it's really undervalued is because the Philippines is still in an internal combustion engine stage. We're not in electric vehicles. So I don't think that we are very much wrong for investing in our oil and gas companies since we are still in a primitive era. So in the dinosaur world, which is the Philippines, we have no choice but to actually use gas and oil in our cars. Therefore, Petron has a business. As for Lepanto, I'm not sure about the gold mining reserves that they have, so I can't say anything. Hi, what are your thoughts po on the Certec SRO and the bonus warrants? Unfortunately, I haven't read about it, or I didn't read about it. Sorry. Fast moves. Yeah, let's read it fast. Let me see. Tech, no, Certec. So they had an SRO. Let's read that together. Press release, June 30, 2021. Certec is saying that they got a green light for giving warrants, setting a final offer price of 5 peso 50 per share, and then another final exercise price. This is gonna be intended for listing 250 million shares. Investors who hold the common shares have the right to subscribe at 550, a discount. And so shareholders will now be using the proceeds for the Kintel as working capital for their 5G plays, Certec Advanced Technologies and Solutions. Okay, so I think that they successfully raised funding. So from a liquidity standpoint, Certec is happy for that. And the question now is whether Kintel is going to be profitable in the long run. So because they're putting the proceeds there. Since I'm not that familiar, I'd say that all I can say is that $5 peso 50 is the perhaps support for now, but we don't know much about Kintel. I mean, anything that you read is just news based. So you'll need some time to see. So right now, I think what happened with tech is, yeah, you got a bottom at 5 peso 50 cents. You want that to be a bottom. That's why the warrants were there. So 10% downside, and then the upside is unlimited. Well, not really unlimited. It depends on depends on how Quintel actually manages to use those proceeds. So it's a lot of money. 250 million times 5.5, that's nearing a billion, more than a billion pesos. So it's business has risks and rewards. So it's really all about that. Okay, thanks. It's 45 minutes. I hope you learned something. Bye bye. Thank you. See you.